Good morning, students. Today we will do Charles Dickens' novel Hard Times and the major themes in his novel Hard Times. Before doing the themes, we should keep in mind that Hard Times is a Victorian novel. It is a famous novel. In fact, it's Dickens' 10th novel, and some people say that it is his shortest novel. Before being published as a novel, it was published in Dickens' own periodical called Household Works, and it came in a serial form. It was serially published, and later it was published as a novel, Hard Times. As we all know, that Hard Times is a criticism of Victorian society, and particularly the ills of Victorian society. So definitely the major themes in the novel will be associated with the society of that time, society of Dickens' time, which we call Victorian England. We all know that the central character in the novel is Thomas Gradgrind, and it is through his theory of education that Dickens portrays the major issues of Victorian England. So, according to some critics, Hard Times is a moral fable. What is a fable? Which gives you some education, which tells you about some moral truth. So they call it that the novel is a moral fable. It has the structure of a fable, and which tells us about the basic flaws of Victorian society in England. What are these flaws? The very first flaw he talks about is difference between facts and fancy. Uh, we all know that Gradgrind, he rears up his children on the idea of facts. They are told nothing but facts in their life, and they are supposed to work on the idea of fact. Emotions are missing. You can take example of Lauza, and she is brought up on the idea of facts, and when his father comes to her asking whether she wants to marry Mr. Bounderby or not, she says, father, when we are supposed to think emotionally, we are always brought up on the idea of facts. So saying that you have never been able to think with your heart is the largest criticism of a father's bringing up. So, and we see in the end of the novel that both Lauza and Tom, they fail miserably in their life. So their failure is failure of facts. Their failure is failure of educational theory of Mr. Gradgrind, which says that one should follow only facts in their life. And the second idea presented in the novel is the idea of utilitarianism. We all know that during Victorian England, this laissez-faire philosophy or the theory of utilitarianism, it was given much importance. But the novel says that if you create a society on the basis of utilitarianism, it's not going to work. Utilitarianism can work in case of material things, like if my pen has a utility, I should keep it. If it does not have a utility, I should throw it away. But it does not work in case of human beings. Like, take example of your parents. If your parents have utility, you will keep him or her or them, and if they don't have utility, you will throw them out. This is not right. So you can say that utilitarianism, it works in case of material things. It does not work in human society. It is not applicable on human beings. However, the novel talks about utilitarianism, and showing the failure of all those children who were brought up on the idea of utilitarianism. The novel is almost a critique. It is a criticism of the theory of utilitarianism. On the other hand, emotional values of Cecilia Jupe, Look, the character of Cecilia Jupe is an antithesis of character of Lauza. So failure of Lauza is failure of theory of facts, failure of theory of utilitarianism, and success of Cecilia Jupe or Sissy is success of emotional idea, is the success of a life which is brought up on the idea of emotions, of on caring each other, and so on. Now, according to some critics, the novel also talks about capitalism. We all know that capital and labor, they are important factors of market, and capitalism is presented through Bounderby. Bounderby, he is a capitalist, he is an industrialist who doesn't care about his workers in the factory. He marries Lausa. He knows that there is a great age difference between them. He does not love her, and still he marries because it is a practical utility to him. Being related to Gradgrind, who is a member of parliament, it's going to give some benefits to him, so he marries Lausa. So he is in fact, and their marriage, it comes to an end because it is a loveless marriage. So in a way, the failure of their marriage is failure of capitalism. He is unable to consider the demands of his workers, and we all know that in the novel, the workers, who are human beings, they are referred to as hands. Now workers, they are also human beings, they are not only hands. So reducing a human being to only a mechanized portion is a criticism of capitalism. Another issue raised in the novel is industrialization. We are given a broad description of Koktown, that Koktown is a town with high chimneys, with high factories, and the smoke is always emanating from that chimneys. Further, we are told that all the streets of the town, they are same, all the buildings are the same. It is monotonous, it is mechanical, it is industrial. So it is not human. Even the workers, they are like machines, and they are referred to as hands, like a cog in the machine. So the ugliness of Cocktown, the ugliness of Cocktown is symbolic of the ugliness of industrial England. We all know that during Victorian England, industrial revolution, it took place around 1859. So the novel also, in a sense, criticizes the extreme industrialization of society. One more issue is raised in the novel, that is trade unionism. Trade unions were also formed at that time in England. So we come to know how the leaders of trade union, they behave in the novel. We know that there is a union, and it wants to get some benefits from the from the owner of the factory, who is not listening to their demands. But the union in itself is not healthy, because they are favoring those people who are selfish. It tells that during that time, trade unions were not working properly. They were also propagating self-interest of people, or selfish people. The novel also tells about the story of Stephen Blackpool and Rachel. Through their story, the novel also talks about the divorce laws in England. We come to know that Blackpool's wife, she ill behaves with him. She comes to his home in his absence. She drinks wine and she irritates the man, but he is unable to take divorce from her, because at that time taking divorce was as a costly affair, and Stephen is a poor man, he cannot take divorce. On the other hand, people like Bounderby and Lausa, they are rich people, they can take divorce easily. So the novel somehow talks about that how laws which are supposed to protect people, they differentiate between the rich and the poor. Like it's difficult to take divorce for a poor man. However, rich can take divorce anytime. It tells about the hard divorce laws of Victorian England. And uh, another issue in the novel is the educational theory. And now, education is an important tool. It is not only a classroom experience, it is not only about memorizing some facts or some questions. Like we make human beings, we are preparing human beings for society. The students which we are teaching today will become the citizens of society tomorrow, and uh, they have to face the changing needs of time, changing demands of society. So education is not about memorizing facts. Like you may not get good marks, but you can be a good member of society. You may get extremely good marks, and you may not be a good human being. So the novel tells about that education should be given priority, and we should be more sensible while educating our people. This is also one message which perhaps Dickens wants to give us. The novel talks about the difference between rich and poor. There always has been a difference between rich and poor in the society from the past, and even today there is no exception. We are almost the same on this front. We rich and poor, they have a wide gap between them. But the novel particularly shows that how you can get some benefits by having wealth, and as a poor human being you have to suffer. The novel talks about power comes in several forms. Power is having money. Power is political, as in the case of Bounderby. He wants to acquire power by being a member of parliament. Power is getting benefits, as in case of Bounderby. Gradgrin wants to be an MLA, I'm sorry, he wants to become an MP, member of parliament. Bounderby wants to reap benefit from his marriage, and Mm, these trade unions, they want to get power through their union. uh, so it's about power of which comes from many things. And somehow the novel also talks about Victorian woman. As we see in the case of Mrs. Gradgrind, she's a homely lady, she's weak. The writer describes her as a frail lady who has no influence in her house. When she reprimands her children, she says, "Your father will say that I have spoiled you." Means she does not have her own opinion. Even you can see Lausa, she is not asked about her opinions or her choices before marrying. So we can say that at that time women were not given much freedom as an independent member of society. So these are the basic ideas which are discussed in a novel, and we have to keep this in our mind, that all these ideas, they are presented through characters. If a character presents an idea, we will definitely infer from it that the characters are symbolic. Like if Bounderby, he represents educational theory. Sorry, Gradgrin represents educational theory, and Bounderby, he represents capitalism. Lausa represents the lack of emotions, and children who are brought on facts. Cecilia, she represents the fancy or the imaginative aspect of life. Coketown represents the industrialization. Trade unions, they represent the self-interest of people and the desire for power. So these are some of the ideas in presented in this novel. Uh, Now it's time to ask questions. If there are any, you can ask. Thanks.